Why some travelers never reach the gate. You can have a valid passport, you can have a confirmed ticket, you can arrive at the airport hours before departure, and still never reach the gate. Most people think that once they arrive at the airport, check in, and pass security, boarding is almost guaranteed. In reality, international travel involves a series of verification steps that take place before you are allowed onto an aircraft. These checks happen every day, often in just a few seconds, and most travelers never notice them. But if one of those checks reveals a problem, the journey can stop before boarding ever begins. To understand why some travelers never reach the gate, it helps to follow the process in the same order it usually happens at the airport. The first step begins when you approach the check-in counter. At this point, airline staff are not simply issuing a boarding pass. They are also verifying that you appear to meet the requirements for the journey you are about to take. One of the first things they will ask for is your passport. When that passport is scanned, more is happening than most people realize. The machine reads information stored in the document, including your name, nationality, passport number, date of birth, and expiration date. In many modern passports, an electronic chip can also be read to verify security features built into the document. To you, it may look like a quick scan followed by a short pause. Behind that pause, airline systems may be checking multiple requirements at the same time. One of the most important checks involves passport validity. Most travelers know they cannot travel on an expired passport. What many people do not realize is that some countries require passports to remain valid beyond the date of arrival. The exact requirement varies from country to country. Because of this, a passport that is technically valid may still fail to meet the entry requirements of a particular destination. This is one reason airlines review passport information before allowing passengers to board. The next step often involves visa and travel authorization requirements. Every country establishes its own rules regarding who can enter and what documents are required. Some destinations require travelers to obtain a visa before travel. Others use electronic travel authorizations that must be approved before departure. The requirements depend on factors such as nationality, purpose of travel, and length of stay. Airlines are often required to verify that these permissions exist before boarding takes place. If a required authorization cannot be confirmed, boarding may not be permitted. Many travelers assume immigration checks happen only after landing. In reality, some of the most important document checks happen before departure. Airlines have a strong reason for conducting these checks. If a traveler arrives at a destination without the required documents, the airline may be responsible for transporting that traveler back to the point of departure. As a result, airlines verify travel eligibility before the aircraft leaves the ground. After passport validity and travel authorization checks, another verification step involves identity matching. The information on your airline reservation is generally expected to match the information shown in your travel document. This helps ensure that the person holding the ticket is the same person identified in the passport. Even though most bookings are processed without difficulty, discrepancies sometimes require additional review before travel can continue. Some destinations also require proof of onward or return travel. These requirements vary depending on immigration rules and the traveler's circumstances. The purpose is to demonstrate that the traveler intends to leave the country within the period authorized by local law. Because of this, airline staff may occasionally ask questions about return flights or onward travel arrangements. The condition of the passport itself can also become important. Passports are designed to withstand regular use, but significant damage can create difficulties during inspection. If identifying information cannot be read properly, or if important pages are damaged, additional checks may be required before travel can proceed. Once check-in is complete, many travelers assume the difficult part is over. The next stage is security screening. Security screening serves a different purpose than document verification. Document checks focus on travel eligibility. Security screening focuses on aviation safety. During security screening, carry-on baggage and personal items are inspected to ensure compliance with airport and aviation regulations. Passing security does not replace document verification. And document verification does not replace security screening. They are separate stages designed to address different requirements. After security, you enter the departure area of the airport. At this point, it may feel as though boarding is only minutes away. However, additional checks can still occur. Many airlines conduct final document reviews at the gate before passengers board the aircraft. This is often the last opportunity to confirm that travel requirements have been satisfied. A boarding pass confirms that you have been cleared to continue through earlier stages of the airport process. It does not automatically guarantee that you will board the aircraft. If an issue is identified during a final review, boarding may still be denied. This surprises many travelers because the boarding gate feels like the end of the process. In reality, it is one of the final checkpoints before departure. Another important point is that airlines and border agencies perform different functions. The airline determines whether you can board the aircraft. The destination country determines whether you can enter after arrival. These are separate decisions. Being allowed to board a flight does not automatically guarantee admission into another country. Likewise, meeting entry requirements generally begins with the airline's verification process before departure. Throughout this journey, most checks happen quietly in the background. You hand over your passport, information is scanned. The airline employee looks at a screen. A few seconds pass. What appears to be a routine interaction may involve multiple systems reviewing document information, entry requirements, travel authorizations, and other eligibility conditions. For most travelers, the process is completed quickly and without incident. The required documents are present, the information matches, the destination requirements are satisfied, the boarding pass is issued, the traveler proceeds through the airport and boards the flight. Because this is the experience most people have, many travelers never realize how much verification takes place behind the scenes. But international travel depends on those checks. Every country establishes its own entry requirements. Every airline has responsibilities related to document verification. Every airport has security procedures that must be completed before departure. The result is a travel process built around multiple independent checkpoints. Each checkpoint serves a specific purpose. Each checkpoint must be completed successfully before the next one begins. That is why having a ticket alone is not enough. That is why having a passport alone is not enough. International travel depends on meeting all of the requirements associated with a particular journey. For most people, those requirements are satisfied without difficulty. For others, a missing document, an unverified authorization, a passport validity issue, or another unmet requirement becomes the reason the trip stops before boarding. And that is why some travelers never reach the gate.